Hey everyone, it's Joy here for Tailored Expressions. I am super excited to share 4 cards I made today. I used the pre-printed Foil It Love Lights background panels along with the Love Lights stamp and coordinating stencil. Now here are those pre-printed background Foil It panels. Then you have the background stamp, and then the coordinating stencils. This is a 2-piece stencil that works with both the stamp and the pre-printed Foil It backgrounds. This is the Mini Strips Watts Up stamp set, the Mini Strips die, Petite Scallop rectangle stackables. I used Oreo and sugar cube cardstock. Then I used the foam sticky strips. I used pineapple, confetti cake, plum punch, and lollipop inks, Oreo ink and VersaMark ink, white embossing powder and my embossing tool, the bitty blender brushes, and the press it tool for the Misty. Now I'm going to heat up my Mink machine, which is going to adhere the foil to the Foil It background pre-printed panels. Or you could use a laminator, that would work just as fine. And I'm using some Deco foil. This is the shattered glass silver foil. And I'm going to add this to 2 of the backgrounds, and then 2 of the other backgrounds I'm going to use the coordinating stamp. So I'm just going to line up my pre-printed panels and just trim out some of this foil. I can do 2 of these. I can actually do 4 cards at the same time, but I'm just going to be making 2. So I'm going to add 2 of these to my carrier sheet. And then once my Mink machine has warmed up and that light turns green, I'm going to run that through my Mink machine. And it's going to transfer the foil to that pre-printed background. Super simple, easy foiling, and you have this really stunning background. So I'm going to run that through. It's a little bit slow. It's just going to take a minute to go through. Then when you pull it out and you peel back your foil, you're going to have a really fantastic background. So now that that's done, it's gone all the way through the machine. I'm going to peel this back and look at how pretty that is. Isn't that so stunning? So I'm going to peel back the other one, and then we're going to go on to stamping our images using the coordinating stamp, and then we will do some stenciling. So here is that background stamp. I'm going to put that in my Misty. I did remove my foam piece because this is a thick background stamp. I'm going to put that in place, line up my sugar cube cardstock. I'm using some Oreo ink, and I'm just going to ink this up. Now, if you did not want to do black ink, if you don't have the Mink machine or anything to foil with, you could absolutely do silver or gold heat embossing using this background stamp. You would just use VersaMark ink and some embossing powder. So I'm going to ink up both of those, and now we're going to come in with the stencils. I have my foiled background down first, and I'm going to be using the pineapple and confetti cake inks. So this is a 2 stenciled system. So you have your first stencil, and you're going to see that there's some little registration marks that follow the lines of the string of lights. And you're going to see that those little cute hearts line up with each one of those lights. For your second stencil, it's going to be the same thing. I started with a big blender brush and then decided to bring in a bitty blender brush because I wanted to add some dimension by adding a little bit of a darker color of the pineapple ink to the bottom and then having a lighter hand at the tip of the heart. So I'm just using 1 color of ink, but going heavier at the base and then lighter out towards the tip. This is going to give you some dimension. It's much easier to do with these bitty blender brushes. So I'm going to peel this back and look at how stunning that is. Okay, so I'm going to do the same color on the stamped background. So I'm coming in with the confetti cake, inking that up, blending it out, and then I'm going to bring in the pineapple. So each color combination, I'm doing 2 different color combinations, 1 on the foiled background and then 1 on the stamped background. So I'm going to finish inking that up, and look at how pretty that is. Okay, let's go to the next color combination, which is Plum Punch and Lollipop. Again, doing the same thing of adding it darker at the base and then lighter towards the tip, which is going to give you some dimension to your images. Now I'm using the Plum Punch. This is on the foiled background, and then I'm going to come in with the stamped background and do exactly the same thing. This is so pretty, and I think these cute little heart lights are so darling. Look at how fun that is. Okay, so I'm going to come in with the Petite Scallop Rectangle Stackables for 2 of these cards. And I've got a small one in the center and then a larger one. I'm going to tape these in place with some low tack tape and then run that through my die cut machine. I'm going to take one of these other pieces and cut it on a diagonal. This is a foiled piece because I'm just going to have some different backgrounds, some different ways of laying out these cards. Okay, so with a piece of Oreo cardstock, I'm going to come in with a smaller petite scalloped rectangle because I want to cut out a frame. So I'm going to have a black frame on the inside of that die cut piece. So see how you lay that out? Now you've got this great black frame, which adds contrast. I'm going to do the same thing for that piece, but it's going to be slightly larger. Same with that Oreo ink. Okay, in my Oreo cardstock. In my Misty, I have a piece of Oreo cardstock. I'm just using the mini Misty for this, and this is the mini strip What's Up stamp set. I am prepping my cardstock with a powder tool. I'm using VersaMark ink because I'm going to be doing some white heat embossing on these sentiments. I'm going to sprinkle on my white embossing powder, and then I will just use my heat tool that I already have heated up. If you have it heated up ahead of time, it helps to not warp your paper so much. I'm going to heat that until it's melted and then use a dry cloth to gently buff off that powder once my embossing powder has dried. I'm going to use the coordinating mini strips die to die cut this out. I'm going to tape that in place and run that through my die cut machine. And then we already have all these die cut sentiments. These are so super cute. I love these sentiments. It's perfect with this stamp set. Okay, I have sugar cube card bases and I'm going to start applying my card panels to these bases. The first one, the sentiment says, "You're delightful." I popped that up with the foam strips. The second one says, "Sending watts of love." This third one is going to say, "You're brilliant," which I think is so fun. And then the last one is going to say, "I love you a watt." And again, for all the sentiments, I'm using the foam sticky strips to give that some dimension. I'm just going to glue all of these in place, adhere them down to the card bases, and these cards are super simple and easy to make, and you've got some beautiful foiling. So here is that first card we cut on a diagonal, and isn't that foil so stunning? Then we've got our next card. This is my favorite color combination right here. This says, "Sending watts of love." Then you have "You're brilliant," and the last one says, "I love you a watt." Thank you guys so very much for stopping by and watching. You can find all of these products at the Tailored Expressions web store at tailoredexpressions.com.